Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Riles YouTube, where I'm all riled up. Today's theory is about how in Resident Evil 7, Jack and Margaret were abusive even before the muted seat, with high expectations from Margaret and aggressive punishments from Jack. Even before Eveline introduced them to the mycelium, their children hated them and wanted to please them or get away from them at all costs as to avoid punishment. The mold just aggravates your personality, makes you more intense than you were before. If you were already physically abusive like Jack, then you're gonna see him inflict physical and punishment without a care, even in front of strangers, even if it means committing murder. If you're already mentally abusive like Margaret, you're likely to continuously spout angry nonsense while attacking you from afar, as she does with her bugs. I believe that Jack specifically directs his anger more towards Lucas than Zoe, and Margaret specifically prefers Zoe. I do want to mention the diary about Oliver that Lucas wrote that took place before the events of the game. There's a few theories about Oliver being all in Lucas's head. No other family members seem to know about Oliver, and how would they not have heard Oliver yelling? For my theory today, Oliver being imaginary will be true. Now let's delve deep into the evidence. Jack is a hunter. This is to show from the very start that he is aggressive. Not saying that if you're a hunter, then you're abusive. I'm just saying that hunters can be aggressive. They have to be if they're going to kill wild animals. Jack looks annoyed and resigned in his family photo. He just wants to get it over with. He doesn't care about the family activity, nor in turn about the family. Jack lures people to the guest house and locks them up, an allegory for him grounding his children for long periods of time, stuck in their room, food brought to them, only allowed to do chores and homework, no friends or socialization. Zoe wants to help Ethan so he can help her escape, indicative of her having always wanted to run away from home. To punish Lucas, Jack cuts off his arm. He no longer cares if his abuse can be seen visibly, not even though Ethan is watching someone new to the table. Marguerite gets mad at you for not eating supper, saying she made it for Ethan when it's clearly rotting and inedible. Her husband tells her to shut up and she curses him out. She would probably normally take out her anger on the kids later by making them do intense chores, but she is instead able to shout at her husband outright. Jack obviously still cares about his stuff getting destroyed, even if he is the one who destroyed it. He yells, "How am I going to replace this?" as though it's Ethan's fault, quick to blame others for his own mistakes just so he has a reason to be angry and aggressive. Only this time, he bursts through the freaking wall so he can kill you. It's weird that an unrelated cop who immediately dies and seemingly has no role in the story is even in the story, except to call out an abuser's avoidance of the police. Jack kills him right away, and there's evidence around the home of them avoiding police calls. They don't like authorities sniffing around because they could get in serious trouble for abusing their kids. They're already good at hiding what they do from authorities. Now it's just worse. Jack says, "I'm an old man, son. You can't take on an old man," sounding as though the sentence comes naturally, like he said it before, probably to Lucas. Perhaps Lucas was defending himself or Zoe from being hit in the moment this was said. Marguerite gets mad at Mia for trying to escape with Ethan, saying Mia is being a bad guest, not accounting for possibly being a bad host. She overcompensates by being a good host as possible so her guests will never suspect there is abuse taking place. But now she's expressing that she's mad no one appreciates her for her efforts. Zoe is especially worried about her mother being so casual about her dad before, joking about his death, but seeming so anxious when she says, "I hope you can handle my mother." She's used to dealing with Marguerite's type of abuse. It's evident in Marguerite's note to Zoe how she always gaslights her daughter and is very accusatory and sounds like a basic petty bitch. She would have hid this more in passive aggressive comments or throwing shade at her daughter before Eveline enhanced those traits into this. Margaret's slander tends to lean toward typical insecurities, tearing down her opponent while she sends bugs after her victim. In this regard, she would be like a stereotypical Karen before Eveline turned her into this vindictive monster. Now, Lucas comes across as a full blown psychopath. Like, he'd make the perfect serial killer if he was like this without the mycelium. Of course, he's really a scared little boy trying to protect his sister and make his daddy proud so they don't get hit. But I've listened to a few true crime podcasts, and daddy issues and abuse and childhood trauma can lead to someone becoming a serial killer really often. The games, the puzzles, the party theme, it's obvious the Midnight Seat accelerated Lucas's personality into a natural progression after his years of childhood abuse. There is a note on Lucas's computer about Jack hitting him and being drunk more than once. This seems to be pretty concrete proof in and of itself, but let's keep looking for more. The other entry about spying on his sister is another telltale sign of becoming a serial killer later in life. A taboo sexual perversion during childhood, which is indicative of mommy issues or daddy issues, or both. The Mutamycete just sped up the process. Lucas says he doesn't want to take some cure. This is better, and of course it is to him. His father treats him with respect, as hinted by when Jack acts all fatherly towards Ethan. He's learning it because Eveline is forcing him to be the quote unquote daddy, and on the other hand, Marguerite is finally treating Zoe like shit, and Lucas probably feels like she deserves it. And he says not everybody wants to turn back the clock, not go back to normal. The difference being just curing them or going back to before Eveline arrived in the first place. The mini boss fight arena where Lucas is like a sports announcer asking who will win sounds like it's rooted in wanting his parents' attention against Zoe. Lucas is known as the bad kid according to a note, and his birthday party theme leads me to believe that his parents never threw him a birthday party or forgot often. They probably only throw Zoe parties. They're perfect little angel compared to the bad seed that Lucas was. His mom gave all her love to Zoe, and his dad hated him. During the final boss fight with Jack, he says a couple things that an abusive father might say, like telling Zoe, I'll deal with you later, or you'd had the good sense to. He may say these things to Lucas like that. If he were smarter, he'd have the good sense to follow his instructions or whatever, or he would always be dismissive of Zoe, telling her he'll deal with her later because he focuses all his hate on Lucas. During Ethan's vision, Zoe walks away when Jack tells him that before Eveline they were harmless. She might have something to say otherwise. I'm even going to include the daughter's DLC. When Zoe comments on the fact that no one has cleared up the dishes in her father's study, it's like, she has to do all the chores. Why doesn't her parents? There is a note mentioning asking Zoe if Lucas would like a power tool for his birthday, but I don't necessarily think this means they throw him parties. They may not even normally remember his birthday or getting him gifts. If they have to write it down in a note left in the laundry room, they normally send their daughter to do chores in. Jack specifically got up in Zoe's face when he was telling Zoe to get Eveline cleaned up and that he had other things to do. It all zoomed in and specific, like Zoe is leaning back, but the fisheye effect is making it look like Jack is pushing forward. When Jack is drowning Marguerite after they both get infected, he says cleanliness is next to godliness, sounding like he was quoting and mocking his wife, who had probably used the same phrase against him in the past. When Zoe is trying to get away from her dad, he says, "You're making your mother worry." This is because Zoe is always trying to make her mom happy, and if her mom isn't happy, then it would make her anxious. Smart luring technique of fear of death wasn't in play here. When Jack finds Lucas, Lucas yells, "No, damn it, Dad!" as though his father rampaging is a familiar sight. Margaret says, "Eveline called me mommy, ain't that sweet?" as though she craves a daughter who is totally dependent on her, a sign of her controlling and manipulative tendencies. "Zoe, you're gonna make me mad," as though Zoe hasn't seen it before. It's usually used to deflate their victim's confidence. "I don't like sneaks," or liars, or excuses, or the word no. She gaslights and deflects when berating her daughter. Jack says, I expect this behavior from Lucas, not you, showcasing that he does expect it with Lucas and is purposely trying to get angry when he sees Lucas doing something he doesn't like. When Zoe tries to defend herself, Jack pulls the broken bottle out, grabs her wrist, and stabs himself even harder, saying, This is how you hurt somebody, as though he knows how from experience from hurting Lucas. There you have it. From even before encountering Eveline, the parents of the Baker family were abusive towards their children. Jack more physical towards Lucas, and Marguerite more mentally towards Zoe. The Mutamycete just enhanced these personality traits and made it much more obvious. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like, and if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Comment what you think and what you want to see in the future. Bye!